Yesterday I was watching a video, and for the sake of the subject, I'm going to take out what was actually being talked about and instead utilize alcohol, just for the sake of it all. It would basically be the same thing, but this person was basically talking about how indulging in something is bad and how you need to stop. And I was really listening to it, and like everything that I've learned about emotional immaturity and black or white thinking, which that is exactly what black or white thinking is. I kind of like came away from it and I was like, this is so strange. Somebody probably around my age is talking about how this thing and indulging in it is bad. And it would basically be the equivalent of alcohol. And so, I came away from it and I was like, this is so strange that there are full-grown adults talking about how something that you could indulge in is bad, right? And, I thought about it and I was like, oh, well, wait a second. That person's not a full-grown adult then. It's like, and I'm not here to, talk about anybody, no names. I'm not here to attack anybody, but what I am here to do is look at everything for exactly what it is. And it's fascinating because as I have grown, as I've learned, as I've, matured, as I've healed, obviously still in the process of all of those things, I've learned that some people are actually infants in adults' bodies, right? Meaning that they were emotionally stunted. They had some level of, whether mild or severe, arrested development in infancy. Maybe around the age of like 6 months old, right? What do infants do? How do they see the world? Black or white, right? So people that had arrested development at that age, they see the world in a black or white way. And depending on how severe, right, depending on how severe their damage was at that point, their arrested development and everything, they probably see literally fucking everything as black or white, this or that, all or nothing. And so I was like, this is so strange that a grown man is teaching black or white thinking. But then I continued to come back to it, and I'm like, well, wait a second. He's not a full-grown man, because if he was, then he wouldn't be seeing things that way, and he wouldn't be teaching that to other people. And I really just sat with it, and I'm like, this is so fascinating. It's so fascinating that a perceived fully grown person, if you don't know enough about emotional development, if you don't know enough about arrested development at certain ages, usually in infancy, you're not really going to do a double take when it comes to things like black or white thinking, right? If you were raised that way and you were raised to believe, like, and it could be as simple as like maybe not having such severe arrested development at such an early age in infancy. It could just be that, like, for instance, your parents or whoever the fuck raised you to see things in a black or white way because they have some level of emotional immaturity, right? And so what I really want to say is that it is, of course, emotionally immature to look at anything, including the fucking world, as good or bad, right? Now, let's take, for instance, a substance like alcohol, right? There are a lot of people that when they think about alcohol, they think about alcoholism, they think about alcoholics, right? That's a very black or white way of looking at things, right? Because you're either an alcoholic or you're not. And to get in the, field of addiction, you're either an addict or you're not. Right? There's no middle ground. But that's the problem, because it's not that fucking simple. And it's not that you're either this or you're that. It's not that you're either an alcoholic or you're not. If you look at alcohol and you say alcohol is bad, it's just not true. It's not an accurate way of looking at things. Some people, they struggle with self-control, maybe down to the very severe degree that they actually lack a very strong sense of self, and that's why they struggle with self-control. I'll make this very clear. You're going to struggle with self-control if you don't have a fucking self to control. Think about that. You are going to struggle with self-control if you don't have a self to control. Right? If your ego state is underdeveloped, you don't really have a developed sense of self, so therefore you lack a self to control. And what do? That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That thing is the reason why I am this way. No, you. You are the reason why you're that way. Everything that you do, everything that you don't do is the very fucking reason that you are that way. But getting back to this guy and how he was like teaching black or white, it's strange, and I'm grateful that I have this perspective and this insight after watching that, because it's like I'm seeing it exactly for what it is and nothing other than that. It is a physically full-grown man talking about how something is bad. So there's the physical growth but the lack of emotional maturity, and it's just so fascinating because like I think about it and it's like it's so strange to see physically full-grown men teaching infancy-level shit. You know? And let me take this a bit further, right? To label things as good or bad is an oversimplified way of looking at things. Not only that, but it's also inaccurate. It's just not fucking true. Alcohol is not good or bad. It's just alcohol. If you consume it heavily, you're gonna feel fucking wild. Or you're just not going to feel, and that's the intention of it, right? If you, however, instead consume it in moderation, and you develop self-control, you can enjoy it with a little bit of, you can enjoy life with a little bit of spice, right? Alcohol kind of makes you feel a certain way, right? Maybe a little buzzed, maybe tipsy, maybe, right? Sometimes if you get that far, you might have friends around you to make sure that, you're taken care of and everything, and you don't do anything that would harm yourself or anybody else, right? But this underdeveloped way of looking at things, black or white, is emotionally immature, and it's just so fucking weird to see physically full-grown humans talking about things in a black or white way. Alcohol is bad. Drugs are bad. This, that, and the other is bad. This person is bad. And not only that, again, there's the other way of looking at this too. If you look at things in a black or white way, that somebody is good or somebody's bad, but focusing on the bad part, that is a simplified excuse as to not go deeper into the fabric of what's actually going on there. Labeling something as bad does not tell you anything about it. Alcohol is not bad. Your relationship with it could be different from somebody else's relationship with it. Maybe somebody else has decent self-control, right? And they can enjoy it in moderation. But not only that, it's also a matter of looking at why you do what you do. Why are you drinking? Are you doing it to enjoy the taste? Are you doing it to enjoy the taste and get a little bit woo, Or are you doing it to numb pain? Maybe you learned a coping mechanism. Maybe you learned to sublimate pain through alcohol, right? Alcohol numbs. It does. It numbs the shit out of your entire nervous system, right? But alcohol is not good or bad. And it's definitely not bad. And it's not good either. It doesn't explain it. It doesn't do anything for it, right? But let me just make this very clear. There are many people walking this planet that see things in a black or white way. And physically, they might be 30, like around my age. Emotionally, they might very well be 6 months old. And it's just so strange to see somebody who is physically grown teaching people to see things in an emotionally immature way. It's just like I'm just and like reminding myself that there are people like that out there. It's just like, oh yeah, well they exist, but like why are they doing that? Oh, well, because that's the way that they see things, even though it's an underdeveloped way of seeing things and it's not accurate, right? I might make a part 2 to this, but yeah, it's just so fascinating, you know? Like, physically, you're fully grown. Emotionally, you might be somewhere in infancy or, you know, toddlerhood, whatever it is. Still throwing tantrums, still emotionally dysregulated, still this, that, and the other. Not good or bad. Again, getting out of the black or white thinking. That's the whole purpose of this video. It's not good or bad. Alcohol is not good or bad. You know, all these different things are not good or bad. They're just there, and you can either do them or you cannot. Or you either do it or you don't, right? Why are you doing it? No shame, no guilt, no fucking nothing. Life is far more complex than good or bad, this or that, all or nothing. Right? To be certain that a person has a fucking problem because they consume alcohol, even if they don't display behaviors of recklessness, is fucking absurd, and it's just not accurate. Oh, that person's bad. That person's relationship with alcohol is bad. That person should not be drinking. Who the fuck are you?